What's up guys, today's video is not food or fitness related, it's to do with Sikhi. On the Q&A, I got a few questions of people asking me how I got into Sikhi, because I did explain I wasn't always a Singh. And in the past people have asked as well, but I just thought it didn't really do it any justice if I just typed up a few words and I wouldn't be able to fit in all the information anyway. So just to give you guys a little bit of a background onto how Sikhi was in our family, was we were a very typical Punjabi Sunday Sikhs, as you could call it, where every Sunday we'd go to the Gurdwara, we'd matha tek, we'd listen to the Katha Kirtan, not always understanding what was being said. Just even though my Punjabi was quite good, sometimes like the Punjabi that they Kathavajiks use is quite goody, or even with Kirtan, sometimes you don't always understand the words, so you don't really know what's being said. Then we'd kind of finish off with langar and come home. On like Bandi Shore or like Nagar Kirtans, we'd always go to the Gurdwara. We'd go during like Vaisakhi time, and for us that's where kind of like Sikhi started and finished. Apart from that, I mean, I didn't really know a lot about Sikhi. My knowledge was very basic. I knew about Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, and I knew about Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. I knew about Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, but it was very limited, as I said. So when I was 7 years old, I went to India for 3 years to stay at a boarding school. I came back when I was 10, and when we came back, we were in a predominantly Punjabi area, and we'd moved as soon as I came back to quite a not heavily influenced, it was just all Gori in this area, and there was not really any upbringing here. So I was kind of like struggling integrating, because you imagine I've kind of adopted the culture of Punjab now, where I've been there for 3 years. So as I came back, I was trying to integrate with Gori and just kind of make friends here, and I was struggling. Like, you know, we'd kind of be going out to the park and they'd be talking about their like 6 weeks summer holidays, and one would be like, me and my family went and took the caravan to Cornwall and we stayed there for 2 weeks, and then we did this, we did that. The other Gora used to be like, Meri billi bimar hogi, we took them to the vets, this, that. And they were like, what did you do in your summer holidays? And I was thinking, wow, I jumped on a flight on Turkmenistan Airlines. My flight got delayed 3 hours at Ashgabat, and then I went to Punjab and I stayed in the Pend for 6 weeks. I went to the Cool, where I like drove my Chacha scooter, messed around on that. We had some gun near there, and then I went suit shopping with my mum, where I seen grown men like pose and model women's suits, and I was kicking off, and then they would bribe me with limca and it would always work. And that's how I spent my 6 weeks in the summer holidays. And then they'd be talking about like, there's just nothing in common. They'd be talking about like pocket money and like allowance, and I was like, what's an allowance? They're like, well, you get money each week. And I was like, man, these Gori are getting paid every single week for doing nothing. So I came home and I'd had that conversation with my dad, and this is how it went.
I was hoping you can give me an allowance.
An allowance? I allow you to sleep here at night. I allow you to eat them potatoes. I allow you to use my lights. I allow you to drink my Kool-Aid. I allow you to nibble on them green beans. I allow you to look at that TV. I allow you to run up my gas bill. I allow you to walk up my stairs. I allow you to ask me these ridiculous ass questions.
So basically, I was having a really tough time. Like, I just didn't have anything in common with these guys. I was like, I need to find some upbringing friends. So at school I was all right, because my old friends were still attending that school. But where I used to live, there was an actual youth club there, and there was all just predominantly upbringing people there. So I didn't drive then, so my mum once a week on a Friday would drop me off there, and I'd get to chill with upbringing and just like, you know, have fun and enjoy myself. They'd play like dodgeball, they'd order in pizza, they'd teach you about like, you know, starting off about knife crime, drugs, this, that, whatever and stuff. You'd get the boring bits out of the way, and then you could enjoy yourself. About a couple of years in, I want to say by the time I'm like 12, 13 now, it closed down. I don't know why, funding or whatever it was, they couldn't get the staff. Anyway, it closed down. And I remember a Singh came there on the day, like quite close to when it was closing down, and he said there's a Sikhi class starting up and it's going to be every Thursday. So I was there like, you know what, I'm free anyway, there's only so much Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 I can play at home. I might as well go and learn about Sikhi. I have absolutely no intention of following it, because I know you can't eat meat, I know you have to keep your hair, and I know you have to kind of live a very strict lifestyle, and it seems very restrictive. So I don't want to follow Sikhi, but I know nothing about Sikhi, so I'd like to just learn about my history and where I come from and all these sort of things. So anyway, I started going to these Sikhi classes, and it was really good. Like, they'd mix it up for children, so like you'd learn a little bit about Sikhi, and then like I said, with the youth club, it was kind of just an easy transition of, you'd play some dodgeball, you'd play football sometimes, you'd play cricket. They'd take you to Drayton Manor here and then every so often and stuff. So it was a really good time, right? And then I was kind of going to Sikhi class for about 2 to 3 years, I want to say now. And I'd learned quite a lot about Sikhi, like, because this time now, it's not just at the Vaisakhi Nagar Kirtan. I wasn't just attending a Nagar Kirtan, eating some samosa and coming back. It's when there was a Nagar Kirtan, at Sikhi class, they were telling us the importance of Vaisakhi, why Nagar Kirtans occur, why we do Nitnem in the morning, what Barney means what, and you just kind of, and on when there was a Gurpurb of each Guru Sahib, you'd learn a little bit about their itihas, or you could call it, or like, you know, what they kind of introduced into Sikhi, or we talk about certain months, something happened to Sikhs here, this is what happened, and you were a lot more knowledgeable on Sikhi now. Before, I didn't really have a great understanding on Sikhi, but at this point, 2-3 years in now, I'd learned quite a lot. And not only that, but I'd made quite a few new friends as well. And I'm probably around 15-16 now. I've actually started to become quite good friends with these Sikhs at the Sikhi class. And even outside of the Sikhi class now, when there's a program on, when there's a Sunbar program on, when there's a Rain Spy on, even if it's like far in Birmingham or whatever, I still couldn't drive then, so they'd happily pick me up, drop me off, and I'd go to these programs with them. And even sitting in like the Rain Spies, even though I didn't 100% always understand what each word meant, or I couldn't always join in, they usually had like the projectors up, and you could kind of translate about what was being said, what Maharaj was saying, what message they were giving to us, and you could always take something away basically from it, and always learn something. And holi as my Punjabi sort of started improving in terms of like listening to Katha, I could start understanding what they were saying and the Sakyan they were telling us about. And during like December months of when the Sahibzade gave their Shahidi, and the hardships that Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj faced, and you know, Chamkaur di Gadi, all these sort of things I was quite very familiar with now, and I got to understand a lot more. Now, even though I was quite familiar with Sikhi and I'd learned quite a lot in the process, and I was actually having some good sangat with things, I still wasn't ready to become a Singh, and I didn't want to become a Singh either. And the reason for that is in my head, I thought just typical brown boy goals, like I want to travel the world when I'm older, I want to have a nice car, I want to be on a good wage, I want to be outgoing and all these things. And in my mind, I always had this, whether it's what I saw or it's what was in my own head, I always assumed that just because you're in Sikhi and you're a Singh or you're a Singhani, you can't be doing well at all them things in your life. You know, it restricts you, it holds you back, whether it's a racist manager, whether it's frowned upon if you're going abroad, whether it's kind of, you know, you can't be in restaurants and stuff, you have to be you have to live a very shouted life, you just do party, you go to your work, you go to the Gurdwara, and that's it, that's the end of your life. And I didn't really want to live that way, so I thought, oh, even though I'm kind of enjoying Sikhi and, you know, I've learned a lot about itihas, I can't really follow Sikhi just because I have all these kind of materialistic probably goals that you could say. Okay, so now around once a month, I used to get my haircut once a month, once every 6 weeks, something like that. And I wasn't driving at the time, so I was probably around 16 or 17. So my mum took me to the barber shop. and normally where I get my hair cut, I think they were like either like Hindus or Gujaratis or whatever they were, and they'd cut my hair, and that shop was actually closed. And my mum was like, we've drove like 25 minutes to come here, I'm not going to come back all this way again, just find another barber shop here and go there and get your hair cut. And I was like, Tika, mum, give me like £5-10, whatever it was. And I've gone into a shop and I've sat down in my seat. He's put the little chadda thing that he does on you, and he started cutting my hair. And when he spoke, and I've kind of looked around and realized he's a Muslim and he's cutting my case. And at that point I felt so embarrassed, I felt so ashamed, I felt so disgusted. And I'd never felt this way in my life, because I had no intention of being a Singh. But me knowing and understanding my ityas now that I didn't know in the past, and knowing the qurbaniya that the Chote Sahibzade gave, knowing the qurbaniya that the Vadde Sahibzade gave, where the Chote Sahibzade, they were offered by Mughals saying, we'll give you these mansions, we'll give you women, we'll give you these palaces, we'll give you jewels, we'll give you all these things, just give up Sikhi and take up Islam. And the Vadde Sahibzade and Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, they're fighting off these Mughals in their hundreds and thousands ki aapa Sikhi kaim rakhni a, Sikhi nu daag nahi launa, we're going to remain in Sikhi intact. Whether that means we have to give up our life, whether that means we have to, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj made the whole parivar var ditta siga Sikhi vaste, so they gave up their whole family for Sikhi. And even with the Chote Sahibzade, when they were questioned at the tender ages of 5 and 7, ke je asi hon tonu shad diye, the Mughal said, when if we were to release you now, what will you do? And at that young age, these Surbi Jodhe that we call our brothers are saying that we're going to go to the jungles, we're going to round up the Singhs that are left, we're going to get Shastar, we're going to come back and we're going to take your heads off. And that was me thinking, now that I know all these things, imagine where the lineage that I've come from, if I call myself ki o mere praya, o mere pitaji ya, what am I doing here cutting my case? Ki he's the same lineage and he's from the same descendants of them same Mughals. Jithe sade sarte, they'd put a price on that if you find, if you kill a Sikh with the star of their case, you get X amount. If you get him alive, you get X amount. And here's me paying the descendants to be cutting my case. I felt so embarrassed, I felt ashamed, I felt disgusted, and I didn't have any words to say. And I gave him his money. What else could I do? You know, I'd asked him to cut my hair, and I felt I just felt really horrible that someone had cut my case. And I remember sitting in the car and I said, Mum, no one's gonna cut my case ever again. And my mum's like, what you on about? You've literally just had it. My mum doesn't know what's going on, and she's like, you've just had a haircut. I was like, yeah, but that was the last one. My case will remain intact now. And it's the first time they didn't really just feel like Baal, they felt like they were a part of my body. This was a part of me that's gonna stay with me until I die. And jo marji ho jave, main Sikhi rehna hai hun, and I'm gonna keep my case. And even though I'd kept my case, when I came back home, my mum had all these questions for me, because she was there like, you're still eating meat, you're not following Sikhi or anything, but you've agreed to keep your case now, and you don't want to bad name, kind of like put like a bad what do you call it, like reputation on things, that they keep their case but they don't even follow Sikhi and they're doing everything wrong, but they're wanting to wear the star and stuff. So I knew that I didn't want to cut my case again, but early on you couldn't really tell, you know, within a couple of months, that I'd become a Singh, because I wasn't tying a dastar or anything yet. But you know, as my hair started to grow slowly, and I started trying to watch these videos of like animals being treated badly, so that I could give up eating meat, because I knew it wasn't right, but nothing seemed to really work. It's not until my case started growing and I was wearing a dastar, and I kind of put meat to my mouth as I had, like, you know, a dari and a dastar on, and it really just hit home that this isn't right. It, you know, as a Singh, we're compassionate, we're Dayalu people, and we should be vegetarian. So that was probably a little bit of a tougher process for me, because it's something I was so used to doing, and it's so culturally, like, ingrained in our Punjabi society to eat meat. Like, you go around someone to, like, all my rishtedar are very Punjabi, like Jattaboot sort of people. You go around, there's alcohol there, there's meat there, and that sort of thing. There's not really a big heavy influence of Sikhi in our family. So my mum had all these questions, and then after that, when they seen I was making these changes, they were very respectful, they were very supportive, and then we even stopped having any meat or alcohol in the house just because I'd become a Singh. So they were very good in that respect. Now with Maharaj's Kirpa, a few years later, I was blessed with Amrit, and it's just been an amazing journey since. And the reason why I made this video is because I know a lot of people will be in the same boat as me, of thinking that, you know, Sikhi isn't for me because I'm not living the Sikhi lifestyle at all. And people who kind of are into Sikhi, they're probably already into Sikhi, they know a lot more than me. I don't know things, I don't want to offend anyone, I don't want to make myself look silly or anything like that, but Sikhi is universal and it is for everyone. So no matter what stage you're at, start coming to programs, especially, like, you know, when you have like these Rain Spike Kirtans on, there's a lot to learn there, because there's information on the projectors that you can pick up from. When there's a Barsi on, when there's Katha on, some of these guys now, they're speaking English, so you can understand what they're saying. They're speaking basic Punjabi, so it just helps you understand and educate. So whenever, like, I know a lot of people will think, well, I go to Sunday programs and that's cool, and carry on going to them, but when you do see these posters flying about of these kind of samagams that are taking place, or barsis and stuff, do try and, or Dasambani programs, do try and attend all these programs, because I think it will give you kind of a different insight into Sikhi, and you'll learn a lot more things. You'll make some friends, and you'll get to kind of connect with people and have conversations with people who are in Sikhi, and you'll be surprised how many people are going through a journey, and it's not just yourself. If you speak to a lot of the Singhs and Singhaniya now who are into Sikhi, I guarantee you they've got their own story to tell, and not all of them, in fact the majority of them, probably weren't raised in a Gursikh lifestyle, and it's something that they gradually built up on, and they will understand that you're going through a process, you're going through a journey, and they'll be able to help you out, and just able to even, you know, create like a support network. Now, just so this video doesn't start and end here for you guys, and there's something to build off this, I want to talk about the Sunbar seminars, which are seminars taking place in different Gurdwara in the country. So please do look out for them, and they're really good for people who have not kept their case yet, and you want to learn more about why Sikhs keep their case, the reasoning for it, some itihas, some sakhiyan. Not only that, they're great for parents to attend. If you've got children and you don't know how to tie the star on them, how to tie a patka on them, if you want your children to learn how to tie a patka and the star themselves, and various other bits and bobs that will kind of teach them how to fall in love with their case, because that's so important in today's society, where sometimes we're told to take on certain hairstyles, sometimes we're told to look a certain way, some beauty standards are pulling you certain ways, and things are always changing in society with what's the norm, and we want to stay rooted, we want to stay in love with our case. A way to do that is to come to programs, is come to these seminars, and to just learn and educate yourself about our case and the importance of it. Now I'm going to conclude this video with one of my favourite sakhiyan. Ek wari Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj apne takht te baithe hunde hai, they're sitting on their throne, and there's the sangat around them, and Maharaj has a patthar in their hand, which is a stone, and there's a bucket filled with water in front of them. Maharaj takes this stone and throws it into the water. As they do that, the stone sinks to the bottom. So Maharaj asked the Sangat why this happened. One Sikh replies, Maharaj, it was a stone, it was a patthar. Anytime you throw a stone into water, it will always drown. It will always sink to the bottom. But Maharaj goes, no, this isn't the correct answer. So the Sikhs start thinking, maybe Maharaj wants like a scientific answer. So another Sikh replied, Maharaj, it was a heavy object. Anytime you throw a heavy object into Barney, it will always sink and end up at the bottom. And Maharaj said that wasn't the correct answer either. Maharaj then turns to Bhai Nandlal Ji, who's sitting at the bottom of their takht, and says, Bhai Nand Lal Ji, why did this happen? Bhai Nand Lal Ji starts crying, and Guru Sahib said, what are you crying for? Bhai Nand Lal Ji replied, Ki Maharaj, jodo patthar thode hath vich siga, when the stone was in your hand, it was afloat in this world. As soon as you let go of it, it drowned. Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj then gave Bhai Nand Lal Ji a tight embrace, a hug, because that was the correct answer. And the same applies to us as Sikhs. When we're going through pain, when we're losing loved ones, when we're going through tough situations in our life, when we're suffering through pain, the toughest of toughest situations that we're going through, if Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj is with us, then they'll take us across that treacherous, terrifying ocean, as they call it. However, Je Guru Sahib sade naal nahi, as Sikhs, we're gonna drown without Maharaj. I hope you enjoyed this video of my journey into Sikhi. But I'd just like to say, ਜੇ ਮੈਂ ਕੁਝ ਗਲਤ ਕਹਿ ਗਿਆ ਹੋਵਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਛੋਟਾ ਭਰਾ ਮੰਨ ਕੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਮਾਫ ਕਰਨਾ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।